besides the, we're a little behind in the Chumash because it's not a problem because we're studying the same parsha, I believe, for 2 weeks in a row. But the Chumash we're holding for Monday's Chumash, a very historical event. That is when God's presence came down. So we'll see a few interesting Rashis. But first, we just got to wrap up the sacrifices. So if you remember, Aaron was bringing sacrifices finally. So in other words, for 7 days, Moses was dedicating the Mishkan, the tabernacle, and Moses was bringing sacrifices, different karbanos, different sacrifices, as the acting Kohen. And then finally on the 8th day, which was the first day of Nisan, which was, we said 10 major events happened, and one of them we're going to learn in today's Chumash, that the fire from heaven came down to show that God was pleased with the Jewish people and he was going to rest in the building, because God said, build for me a building now. And how do we know God accepted our gift? So God sent down a heaven from Shemayim, and we'll see a little bit of drama that was involved in that at the end of this Chumash. But first we got to conclude with the sacrifices. So there was a list of, I believe, 4 or 5 sacrifices, maybe 6 sacrifices that Aaron needed to bring from among the Jewish people, and also a couple from his own, in order to ask forgiveness for the sin of the golden calf. And we'll see a little bit of drama that Aaron scared that maybe his sin of the golden calf was not fully forgiven, and that's why God is not coming down. Let's see. Verse 17. And they dedicated the mincha offering, because they also brought a meal offering, besides Aaron bringing the bull or the calf, and the other sacrifice he brought. He also brought a meal offering, a flour offering. We always know flour represents sustenance in the earth. That was part of the gifts that he brought on the first day of him serving as the Kohen. He filled up his hands. What does it mean? He did kimitza. We learned about this when we learned about sacrifices. How do you for an animal, you sprinkle the blood. For a flour offering, you do that scoop with the 3 fingers. He puts it on top of the altar. First time he's doing this with the flour offering. Besides for the morning burnt offering. So after they bring every day, you have to bring the daily burnt offering in the morning, which is why we have chakras today, and the daily burnt offering in the afternoon. After you brought the morning sacrifice, first you daven chakras, first you do that, and then you bring the other sacrifices you want to bring. So he goes and he brings all the other sacrifices, including the meal offering. He burns it on the altar after he brought the daily sacrifice, right? You got to do what you got to do every day, and then you do the extras. Verse 18, so he goes and he shechs, he slaughters the ox, because this was from the list of sacrifices that had to be brought from the Jewish people, not from Aaron. And he slaughters the ram. They brought an ox, they brought a ram. Zevach shlamim, they were given as gift offerings. Shlamim, peace offerings, which mean that piece for the altar, also a piece to bring peace, and a Kohen eats part of it. It's split up. It's not fully burnt on the altar, these sacrifices. And Aaron's sons bring to him the blood, because after you slaughter it, the blood goes in a cup, and the sons of Aaron collect it and bring it to their father Aaron. And Aaron goes around and he sprinkles the blood as you're supposed to sprinkle from the cup. He shoots it, makes a sprinkle from the cup onto the walls of the altar. That's a chalavim, and he always burns the standard procedure of the peace offering, so you got to burn on the altar. Just go through it quickly for us. That's a chalavim min ashar, and the fats from the ox, and the fats from the ram. And remember, the ram, ha'alya, you also send the tail, has a fat, I think we said the sheep and the ram have juicy tails that also have to be sacrificed. Other animals don't have like juicy tails. These have juicy tails. And you take out the tail, the fatty covering, and mechasa kloyes, and the stuff that cover the diaphragm. We learned that there was a piece called the diaphragm, and the fats that's on the diaphragm, the hakloyes, and the kidneys, yeseres hakaved, and a little bit of the fats with the covering of the liver. That was always sacrificed, and we learned that at length in the past. He just talks about how the transfer would take place. So basically, you would have certain pieces that were going to be burnt on the altar. So we said you had fats, right? And you had sometimes a piece of the breasts of the animal. And when you would hand it from one coin to the next, you know how you'd hand it over? You'd pass it over, and it would flip. So you would be holding, let's say, the fats on bottom and the piece of meat on top. And when you handed it over, it flipped. Like you flip an egg. The piece of meat goes on bottom and the fats goes on top. So this is what the verse says. The fats ends up on top of the breast. And the fats are burnt on the altar. As it passed from one hand to the next, it flips over. Like when you hand the package, sometimes the bottom package goes on top, and depends how you pass it, and flips over. What do you do with the chazis, the breast part, the best part of the meat? And the right thigh. They would do tnufa. We learned that a lot of the sacrifices, they would wave it to different sides representing, we learned the different winds, the negative winds, and praying to Hashem that everything should be healthy. Tenufa lefnei Hashem, kasher tziva Moshe, exactly like Moses told Aaron to do it. Aaron is acting as the kohen, and finally, we get to the end of the procedure. Aaron finishes bringing all the sacrifice you need to bring. We learned the last few days. And Aaron, for the first time, I believe it's the first time, blesses the Jewish people. The famous blessing, which Yehuda, where's Yehuda? Is Yehuda here? Yehuda gives us every time in Shul. Yehuda, where are you?
Yehuda, here, Rabbi, just bad connection. I'm right here.
Okay, good. Listen to this. So Vayisa Aaron es yadav. Aaron lifts up his hands. El ha'ams. All the people are there. Vayivarchem, and he blessed them. So Rashi says, what blessing did Aaron give them? Berchas koyanim, the kohanic blessing. Yivarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. May Hashem bless you. Hashem shine His countenance upon you. Yor Hashem panav elecha. Yisa Hashem panav. We have the first Yehuda's great grandfather blessing the people at the first day of acting as the full kohen, blessing the Jewish people. But yet, Maris Achatos, and he goes down from finishing to bring the sin offering, which we described, the oila and the burnt offering, Gashlami, but all the different kinds of sacrifices, and the drama starts to unfold now. So after he finishes blessing, Aaron goes into the tent of meeting, goes into the Oyel Moed, and Moses followed behind him. So they go and they disappear. They're front of the whole congregation is watching. And Aaron turns around and he brings all the sacrifices and he blesses the people. And Aaron goes into the tent of meeting and Moses goes in. Yetzu, and they came out of the tent of meeting and they blessed the nation. All of a sudden, the glory of Hashem appears before all the people, comes down. So the question is, what was this thing that Moses and Aaron disappeared? They slipped into the Mishkan. And this is where the drama starts to unfold a little bit. We'll read the Rashi over here. What takes place in that moment after Aaron finishes bringing all the sacrifices? So Rashi says, what is it? We don't see what's this slipping and disappearing into the Mishkan, into the actual tabernacle that Moses and Aaron go in. So one simple interpretation, Rashi says, look, we don't have to get into any drama here. We just say simply what happened. Moses had to show Aaron what to do. Aaron didn't know what to do, and Moses was the acting Kohen the whole time. Aaron's now doing it. So he went in. What did he want to show him inside? What did we do every day inside? We lit the menorah, and the Kohen would light the menorah, and they would burn the incense. So Aaron didn't know how to burn the incense. No drama involved. Moses was showing Aaron every day what to do. He was the one that God told Moses what to do. Moses had to show Aaron what to do. So Moses said, let's go in. Let me go in. My dear brother Aaron, let me go in with you. And show you how to bring the incense, and the end of the story. So Rashi then says another very famous interpretation. No, Aaron started to freak out. I don't know if the word right was freak out. He started to get very concerned. Oh, he's bringing all the sacrifices, and what? They built the whole temple. They spent, tons of money, millions and millions of dollars in building the shul. And they were bringing all the sacrifices. And Moses told Aaron, bring the sacrifices and God's presence will come down. We learned the other day. And it's not happening. After all is said and done, it's not happening. We did everything we needed to do. We built the Kohen Gadol's breastplate, with the gems, and we built the altar, and we built everything's happening. It's not coming down. Aaron was in pain. He was in tremendous pain. He says, you know why it's not working? It's because of me, right? A lot of times people blame themselves. Something doesn't work out. It's because of me. Hashem is angry at me, right? Probably for the sin of the golden calf. I'm not the right guy for the job. This is all a farce. And this is so embarrassing that we told everyone what's going to happen. And I'm the guy who's supposed to make it happen, and it's not happening. And Aaron turns to his brother, Rashi says, Moses, this is how you treat a brother. I'm so embarrassed. All the Jewish people are watching. We promised them a showdown that God's presence is going to come. And what's going to happen? So that's why Moses slipped in with Aaron, not to show him, according to second interpretation, just how to do the incense. He said, God, this is Moses. You terribly humiliated me in front of all the Jewish people. You hired me as the guy supposed to be able to officially bring down God's presence. Everybody's standing here and watching, and look what's taking place. Nothing's happening. This is a joke. This is a terrible embarrassment to me. So Moses went in and says, God, please. And right away, the Shekhinah came down to the Jewish people. And that's the background to the verse that just says, right? The verse we learned that Moses slipped into the tent, that's the background to the story. The other thing I want to share in this story, this last Rashi here, Moshe said something very powerful in Tehillim. It says, We say the Saturday night, we add this prayer as soon as we finish the Shabbos, we daven Ma'ariv. At the end of Ma'ariv, those who go to shul know, we say the V'hinoyam. And basically it means that in life, as the week starts, we start the new work week, and we say, Hashem, may you bless and praise our handiwork, which means in life, we could work, we could effort, we could invest, we could do all the things right. The fact is that if Hashem doesn't bless your work, it's not going to help nothing. You could invest, you could follow all the professionals and all the investors and everything they tell you. But if Hashem doesn't bless your work, it's a gonish, as they say in Yiddish, it's nothing, it's a klum. So Moshe says, "V'noyam Hashem Elokeinu." In Tehillim it says, Hashem, may you pleasantness of Hashem be your Shechina rest. And he says the whole 7 days, what was happening every 7 days, Moses, if you remember, how did Moses work for 7 days? Not just did he bring the sacrifice, Moses literally built and took apart. Built because it was like a Lego. I mean, it was more than a Lego, but it was made to be taken apart. All the 7 days of getting ready, the 7 days before Rosh Chodesh Nisan, before Aaron took over, Moses was the Kohen, and he also took apart and built it literally every single day. And it didn't help. The Shekhinah, God's presence, was not coming down. And the Jewish people started to freak out. We did everything. We put all this money into nothing, and it doesn't work out. And they told Moshe, everything we did, we invested that Hashem should be with us. And God never forgave us for the sin of the golden calf, no matter how hard we tried, because this was all, as Rashi learns, to make up for the sin of the golden calf. So Moses, I promise you, it's going to work out. And Moses told the Jews the whole time, my brother Aaron, he's holier than me, he's greater than me, whatever, he's going to make it work. And it wasn't working. And it was important to have Aaron also make it work, because the Jews should realize that Aaron was it wasn't nepotism, that Aaron was the right one to be the high priest. But then, boom, it worked. And it was, we learned in today's Chumash, a beautiful story that the presence of Hashem came to rest among the Jewish people. And that's the end of today's interesting Chumash. Any questions or comments before we go on to a beautiful Tanya class in learning? What about people who learn Torah and do mitzvahs for the wrong reason, the bad reasons?
So,
yeah, Brett.
So was it Aaron that was like the person that was the catalyst for being forgiven for the golden calf?
That's what the second Rashi interpretation kind of brings, is that Moses told the people, because I guess the people were also they're going to question. What's interesting is they're going to question Aaron. There's going to be a revolt in the Jewish people later on, and they're going to want to overthrow Aaron. They're going to be very upset. They're going to want to throw Moses and Aaron. So it sounds like any shul, like modern shul today. Everybody wants to president and the rabbi, they want to whatever. So, but it's very clear here from the story, at least, I guess, and I believe that's what Rashi's saying, is that Aaron when this takes place. So that's something that I guess comes out of the story, that we know that Aaron was selected by God, even though we know that Moses is obviously not making it up, but it's very clear from today's Chumash that Aaron was chosen also. Yeah, interesting Chumash. So a little bit of the history, and the Torah is telling us about what took place. Any questions or comments? Are we good? Okay, no questions or comments. Mr. Beautiful, it's good to see you. He knows what I'm talking about. Shuki's title for David. Okay. Very good. Can't hear you. You're muted. How are you, David?
I said, thank you, Shuki, for the name, and thank you, Rabbi Tzaddik, and I'm glad to be part of the Mishpacha.
Rabbi, correction. It's Mr. Handsome. It sounds better.
Handsome, sorry. Mr. Handsome, okay. Especially with the sunglasses. Very good. All right, let us move on